All right, so we're here at CPAC, and we're here with the chairman of CPAC Hungary, Miklós Szántó. Tell me about what Hungary has been able to do to turn around your birth rate. I know that's been a policy that we've heard about in Canada. In our country, we have a plummeting birth rate, and nobody seems willing to actually address this issue.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Look, at the heart or at the core of Hungary's family policy is to create a so-called work-fair society instead of welfare society, meaning that the government launched 10, 14 years ago a program which literally forces or encourages, at least via the taxation system, everyone to join the labor market. Meaning that all of the social benefits were cut, which social benefits were not related to having a job, and all of the social benefits, including tax benefits and many other literally money related to having a family and having children, were attached to your income, to your legal salary. That meant a very high, very intensive rise in employment. And actually the unemployment rate in Hungary is around 3%. So actually who can work nowadays in Hungary is on the job market and works. And the important thing which relates this whole policy to the family policy and to the rise in the birth rates is that if you're in the job market and if you establish your family and if you have 1 children, 2, 3, 4, etc., the more tax benefits, the more money you get from the state. I know it sounds a little bit socialistic, but that's the way how we can do this. I think conservatives shouldn't be dogmatic if it comes to important issues. So if you're in the job market and you do have a legal income, and if you have a family, and if you have the more children, the less tax you pay. For example, mothers, women, after 4 children, and from the next year after 3 children, they do not pay any income tax. So the idea, the ideology behind this whole structure is to get people on the job market and to give them as many tax cuts, tax benefits, and state fund as possible if they do work. And of course, additionally, for women, there are extra special programs if they are not able to join the labor market because they are at home with the children, then they get extras from the state, but only if they do have children and only if they are at home and not on the job market because they spend their time with their family.
In Canada, we have a problem where there are not enough people being born in our country, so in order to sustain our social safety net, we have to import a population. We've gone through a serious program of mass immigration, and it's even stated in our census that that is the government plan. And it seems, from my perspective at least, that the Conservatives in Canada seem afraid to talk about demographics. They're afraid to talk about birth rates. I'm not quite sure why, but obviously in Hungary, that is not the case. So what do you say to Conservatives in Canada who maybe the word is afraid, to talk about this issue?
It's maybe because of the woke and political correctness, which is a no phenomena in Hungary. There is no woke, there is no political correct oppressed language in my country. But environment, I mean political and social environment matters. Let me give you an example. In Hungary, the number of abortions in the past 10 years halved without any type of modification or amendment to the very law, which means that just because the Hungarian social environment became more family friendly, the number of abortions halved because mothers thought that it's better, of course, to have children. One abortion is more than enough, of course, and it's still around 20 or 30,000 in Hungary per year. But 10 years ago, it was around 50 or 60,000 per year. And also the number of marriages doubled in the past 10 years, and as you already mentioned, fertility rate grew from 1.22, which was 14 years ago, to around 1.60 nowadays. It's still not 2.1, I do agree, but we do see a slow but continuous change in the social environment and in the mindset of the people, because the mainstream is about having family and having children is good. It's not a burden. The public discussion is not about whether newborn would mean some kind of negative, how you call it, carbon footprint, what I do here regularly from the West, but the feeling is that having a family and having more children is cool, it's trendy, it's fancy, and it's sexy. And of course there are the state programs. There is the tax system, as I told you, the different family policies carried out, blah blah blah. But it's also it's also important to know that the environment, how you change the mindset of the people, is also very relevant, because on the other hand, and with a very different mindset, liberals are doing the same.
Last question for you. We know that CPAC has been branching out into other countries like yours and like Japan. So what can we expect from CPAC Hungary going forward?
We would like to strengthen the global coalition of anti-globalist forces, and we would like to prepare ourselves in Budapest, in Hungary, at CPAC Hungary at the end of April for the upcoming European elections, because we will have a Europe-wide elections in early June. And of course we would like to prepare ourselves together with our conservative friends from the US for the upcoming presidential elections here in the US November. What we feel, and that's a good feeling, that our enemies on the left are so frustrated that we are trying to realize the nightmare of the liberals, meaning the international coalition of national forces. That's good to see. If they are frustrated, I think we are on the right path, and the very goal at CPAC Hungary is to go against the liberal mainstream, is to show that we are the woke busters, and that we should drain the swamps both in Brussels and in Washington as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.